Okay, so here we are at the Dev Hangout. Thanks, Faria, for having us and for accepting this talk about searching in Slack. We had a background talk here with Alex, who has a ton of experience working with Slack and other tools. And he mentioned a few things that I would like to leave a record of. But first, maybe do a little quick overview of the search abilities of Slack. I'm not going to walk through them, but what I'm going to do is to show you where you can find the relevant information so you can teach yourself how to search in Slack effectively. The intuitive thing to do here, wherever you are on Slack, is to go to the search box or bar here, and immediately you see a lot of information, maybe too much information. That's the reason why this was never obvious to me. So it took a little intention to discover these things. So to begin with, we already see that we could start typing something, but also we could start clicking things like am I looking for a message? Am I looking for files? Am I looking for channels or for people? Right. So this could take us to a much finer list of things among which we need to kind of find what we are looking for compared to just start typing anything. So, but the other thing that was quite cryptic here, and that's the one that I want to highlight here in this video, is the learn more URL here at the bottom right. So when we click there, something very unsurprising happens, which is a good thing in general in programming, like the minimum surprise. The user gets what they expect, is that we get help about how to search in Slack. So I strongly recommend walking through this document because it gives you a lot of resources in a very short time that will shorten the time that you will take to search for content in Slack. To begin with, there is this very short video, I think it's like 1 minute, that gives you the most important tips. And then as you continue in the document, and the nice thing is that it will pop up here on the right hand side of your screen. I'm pretty sure that will happen to you too. And then on the left hand side you can start like playing with it, having this on the right continuously for guidance. So it will teach you how to kind of start getting close to what you look for, and then how to narrow down your search using some modifiers, some things that Alex did mention, something like like where is the thing that you're looking for, or something like from, who did send the message that you're looking for, or something like has, does it have an emoji, does it have an attachment, or things like that. So there is a few things that you can also do to yourself to find things easier in the future, like for example, to save the message means to come here, hover over the message, and then click this thing that bookmarks the message somewhere, that then allows you to type something like is column saved, and only the list of saved things will appear, right? So that's some of the things that you can also do in your own work to find things easier. So, and then there is a few more tips here and some shortcuts that you can use to even more improve your experience. So this is a resource for you to teach yourself how to search in Slack effectively. The way I got here, once again, is by clicking here on the search box and going here to the bottom right. Or you can also go to help and go to open the help center. It will eventually take you to the same place. We're gonna land on a web browser, and in the help center you can start typing anything. Something like search could give you already, the very first hit will be search in Slack, and that will take you to the exact same file that we get inside Slack through that URL. So that's the end of what I wanted to show here, and I wanted to highlight some ideas that Alex mentioned that seem pretty obvious once you hear them, but nothing that I have embraced in full when I worked. I'll probably let Alex to fill the rest of the time, but the one thing that kind of struck me the most is like, okay, if you share content that is relevant to more than one person in the present, or to more than one person in a potential future, because for example, I'm talking to Faria here about some things that I did, But I don't know, maybe in the future someone else that doesn't still belong to this conversation will need that content. Maybe an intern that joins, maybe a new employee, maybe whoever. Maybe that conversation should not be directed directly to Faria as a direct message. It should be maybe written in a channel. And Alex said, you can make that channel private and still the conversation will be private today between Faria and me. But in the future, the idea that we use this abstraction, which is the channel, to communicate allows us to add someone else in the future that could have access to the history of messages of that conversation. So that's probably the biggest takeaway from what Alex said. So I'm going to stop here and hand it in to maybe Alex if you want to complete something, or Faria if you want to wrap up.
Yeah, I'll just say that I think that something I said earlier is searching through Slack is a tool that is better than nothing, but it is barely better than that because you're just looking through what is effectively the stream of thought process of how the decision got made, right? And when you're going back and searching, you're not searching for, at least not usually, how did the decision get made? What was the conversation that we were having? It's usually the thing we're interested in is what was the decision? What is the file that I need? What is the consequence of the conversation? So whenever possible, I think it is useful to transfer a summary off of Slack and onto something else, whether that is a Google document, whether that is an ADO ticket, whatever other system we are doing to keep a archive of decisions and an archive of what our plan actually is, rather than the conversations where we came up with the plan.
That's all for me. It looks like it's all for Alex. Faria, would you like to wrap up?
Yeah, I don't have much to contribute because I've used Slack as as a way of knowledge retrieval through the search. But this was a good way for me to also know about the different ways to narrow down. So thank you, Maro, and thank you, Alex, for sharing your knowledge. And so that's it for today's Dev Hangouts.
Great, thank you. I'm going to stop the video now. Cheers.